I mean, I didn't want you to go into a cool story without, and no one can hear it. Alright, they can hear me, but not you. It's cool. Yeah,
Yeah.
yeah.
Can
No
you
audio
hear
for
me
me?
now? No audio for me.
Yeah, there it is. Okay, yeah, I can hear you now. We're gonna
Oh,
get this figured out
no, we're not. No, we're not.
eventually.
Okay.
Yeah, it's
Like,
gonna
I have
happen.
a sick kid. I was in the hospital earlier this week. I don't fucking know.
It's cool, it's cool. My god, this is where we're at.
Oh my
We're
god. Our title says
we're
we made it, and like we're barely scratching by right now.
we
We
ain't
ain't made it. We didn't make it.
what
It's
is
fine.
it? Because this is not.
Hey, it depends on your definition of it's. We made it. I mean, it's fine. Hello, everyone, and welcome to Waking Up. I am Arugs, and this is my co-host, Sean. Hello. Yes, we have
Ha.
full audio. Okay. I have
Woohoo.
decided that I am going to introduce you like this is my co-host, Sean. I feel like I don't want you to have like this is my best friend, like you're a tag along. I feel like that we need to be equal now. So
Aw.
I know.
I
I
feel
feel after
special.
2 years, I feel like it's time.
Wait, have we done this for 2 years or 3 years? Is it 2? Wow. Wow. 2
Because
years.
our first episode was when I
Mhm.
was in Orlando the first time.
Mhm.
Our year anniversary was Orlando last year. And this
Mhm.
is this is our
Wow, okay.
this is our second year. Second anniversary.
Wow. So we've completed 2 years, we're starting a 3rd.
Yes.
We have we have been doing this that's a long time to do a podcast.
It 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 is. It is.
Mhm.
Our record's 4. Maybe we see we can get
You you're right. And if
our
we don't, we don't. If we do, we do.
streaming
You know?
happens. Life happens. All
As
right.
long as y'all show up, we're gonna do this thing.
That's what she said?
And that's valid, yeah.
Okay,
I mean,
okay.
but if they don't show up, she'll just do it by herself.
You only wish you would do it by yourself. Okay, here's our disclaimer, just in case we start talking about
Go
shit.
ahead and put that out there.
Okay, yeah, this is fine. Here on Waking Up, we are not here to discourage anybody's religious faith or belief system. We think that faith and religion are beautiful things when done in a mentally and emotionally healthy manner. We are not licensed professionals. We are not therapists, counselors, life coaches. We do not have any type of licensure. We at all. Anything said on this podcast, any opinions, anything, advice that we give is just our opinion. It is editorial only. It is take it as you see it. It is absolutely our opinion. And we are just two traumatized people that have religious trauma and are trying to work our way through it and our mental health and emotional issues. And if you do need professional help, please contact us at Nerd Mames on all the socials. We certainly have resources that we can get you in touch with that can get you the help that you need. If you want our advice as our advice, not a professional opinion, that's on you. Because some people have reached out to me and asked me some opinions, and I'm like, remember, this is just my opinion. This is what works for me. I'm not a professional. You go see a professional.
Mhm.
So just, Sean and I both grew up in the Carolinas, which is the buckle of the Bible Belt, Billy Graham territory. We
Right there.
grew up
Big
good old Southern Baptist. And if you don't know what that is an evangelical denomination of the Judeo-Christian faith. And it fucked us up. And we grew up there. We grew up in the 90s. And so it was a good time in the decade of martyrdom and religious purism and all of the things that they
Focus
stuffed
on the
down.
family and Dr.
Yes,
Johnson
it's the
and
heyday. It was right out of the 80s conservatism and the 90s just perfected it. It was just, it
Mm,
was great. And we are the product of that. It is awesome. So here we are on a religious trauma podcast. Yay!
yeah.
We don't just talk about religious trauma. We do talk about a lot of different mental health issues that we struggle with. And so it is religious. It does have a religious trauma lean, but we don't always necessarily focus on religious things. So
We got trauma all the way around.
we
It's
do.
not
We're
just
we're a
religion.
well-rounded traumatic troop.
Well-rounded.
We are
We're rounded trauma Trisket.
no, yeah, we're a troop now. It's like I feel like since you're a bard, it's like we're a troop.
Yeah, we're sure. Absolutely.
I mean, I
Oh
need
my
a ton
God.
of help, but I think mine is more padded rooms, self-hug jackets, and padding cups. Um,
And
yeah, honestly, Paragon rounded trauma Tristan can need Ritz crackers. I mean,
Yes.
I mean, Paragon's got you there.
Mhm.
I'm trying to keep her from jumping up here.
Or-
She's being a
You,
pain.
you should get her. You could give her that bed that clamps onto the side of the
I
bed.
have actually a window ledge, but I don't have enough room right here for her to sit. Or because if I put that out there, like I won't have any room to get out. I will be trapped here forever.
That's her goal.
Probably.
This is your home now.
This is my home right here. But to go back to Paragon, what you were talking about padded rooms and stuff, I actually have known some people that have been committed for some time, and it has honestly been if you do, he's self-committed. And she actually, both of them, they self-committed. It's been probably the best thing that they said that they've done. Had been going into it. Was that something that they want to relive? Absolutely not. Do they want to go back? No, but they say that is just, they got the help that they needed in an isolated environment, which is sometimes what you need. Some people joke about that, but I just want to make that very clear that because so many people have that negative stigma around it.
Mhm.
Oh, those facilities exist for a reason. And I mean, I had the same thing where it was like, oh, I'm like, until somebody suggested that I be committed. And and it's different for everyone, and the facilities are different. Oh my gosh, those facilities are different depending on where you are. Some are really great, some aren't. But I mean, I had a therapist. They're like, okay, do we need to commit you? Like, that was really like the question she asked me, and she was like, legit. And that's one of those things where I just sort of sat there and I was like, ooh, I'm there. Like you think like
Yeah.
you don't realize
Kinda
where you
hit ya.
are sometimes, and then you're like,
Mhm.
oh, I'm there. Okay. And I
Yeah.
considered it. I absolutely considered it. Like I was like,
Mhm.
but
There's so much of a stigma. There's so much of a negative stigma around
oh yeah.
still mental health.
Oh yeah, absolutely.
And yeah, there's sometimes like when we go to therapy. I go to therapy once a week. There have been times where I went every other week. Sometimes depending on what you're going through, that works. But there are times where you need it a lot more than once a week. Where you may need it every day, and you may need and not for a long period of time, but just for a short period of time. 3 times, yes, you go 3 times.
I went when I first started this a year ago. It was 3 times a week. I had individual, I had group, and then I had family. I was going 3 times a week. And now I still have it 3 times a week, except now it's just called life coaching. So it's fine.
Yeah.
It's fine. I still have it 3 times a week. Okay.
You got a coach? Have you called her coach yet?
No, I've not called her coach yet. I actually
on,
haven't
call
met
her
with
coach.
her in a
Wait.
couple weeks because
Oh,
well, it
'Cause
was in Orlando, yeah. And then the time I was supposed to meet with her on Thursday,
Mhm.
I had to go to the ER. So I was like, I texted her. I was like, going to the ER, can't meet today. Sorry.
whoops. Yeah. Things happen.
Yeah.
So-
Yeah. But now,
But
like,
there's-
your therapy adjusts, though. I think that's the other thing, too. Like,
Mhm.
my therapy was very much crisis management a year and a half ago. Very much crisis management.
Yeah, you're dealing with a lot.
Yeah. It's very much like, okay, let's repair enough to make it functional, which is very basically what my therapy
Yeah.
was for about 6 months, right? 6 or 7 months. It
You're
was
kind of patching the holes, trying to keep the
yeah.
ship from sinking. Person being strong as a person to Newark. Yeah.
Ooh, I'm gonna go back to that here in a second. Once I before I
Yeah.
and
Go
while I'm
ahead.
gonna finish my thought, but we're gonna go back to Paragon's thoughts because I have
Mhm.
opinions on that. I have words,
You have thoughts about his
not bad
thoughts.
ones, not bad ones.
Yeah.
But
Yeah.
I mean, and then over time, like when my therapist left her practice, and I had to find, I was like, okay, I had to do a different plan. I was like, and we were talking about it. We had to adjust my uh oh, see.
See,
Okay,
that in itself is
okay,
we'll come
we're
back to
going
that.
back to that. All right. So I had to adjust my plan. Like I had to, okay, what kind of
Mhm.
therapist do I want? Like what kind of therapy needs do I need? And
What do you want out of it? Which is
right. And it's
yeah.
like, okay, well, I've crisis management. My crisis has been managed. And so now where do I want to go from there? And so now it's like I have a trauma therapist. She specializes
Mhm.
in trauma. She does all other things, but her specialty is in trauma. And then my life coach, who used to be my old therapist, now we work on. She knows where I came from, so we work on handling how I want to my future self. What do I want to do now and in the future, and how I want to how
Mhm.
I'm dealing with the now, not the past. And it's nice. It's a nice balance. And family therapy just,
Yeah.
that pretty much helps me figure out my relationships. It's just like, how did I fuck up every romantic relationship I ever had in my entire life? That's cool. Like
Yeah.
it's that one
So
is
you don't carry
right.
your wound, your past wounds into the future ones
Right.
in your future relationship.
And it's just one of those that one actually has been some of the hardest ones because
Yeah.
you're seeing yourself, especially if you have a good therapist, like a good one, like you don't see yourself the way that other person sees you because of your trauma. And
Oh
then
yeah.
when you're sitting
Yeah.
there with somebody else and you're talking, because all you can see is yourself and your hurt and your pain and your own shit, right?
Yes.
You're
Mhm.
sitting there in your own shit. And then all of a sudden you're like, what do you mean when I say that? That's not what I meant. That's not what they hear because of their trauma. And then they're like, you even like, I know for me, like I have and he have both specifically purposefully not said certain things in a certain way because over time we've realized, like over like the course of the therapy, we realize, okay, this is going to trigger them. This is going to, so we try very hard not to say it, and they still hear it, and I still hear it, and you're
Mhm.
like, I didn't
Yeah.
say that. And that has been some of the most eye-opening one. I like how my relationships deal with other people. Like that one, it's just that one's been.
That's what's so difficult about repairing relationship, reconciling relationship, wherever you're at in your relationship. When you're trying to fix those things, the trauma, the scars, the baggage that you have, it's hard to not filter everything through that wound,
Oh,
through that
yeah.
scar. So no matter how innocuous they try to say something, no matter how
Neutral. It's not innocuous.
neutral.
Neutral.
Sorry, neutral. No matter how neutral they try to say something, it's difficult to hear the neutrality
Mm-hmm.
because we're so accustomed to hearing it in a certain way
Yeah.
that we just automatically do that.
What?
Yeah, I
No.
know, right?
Yeah.
Yeah, I'm sure if my ex and I had done what you're doing, I'm sure it would have been very similar to that.
I feel like
Yeah,
you would have a lot less issues now than you would back then. I mean, I'm just
possible.
saying.
It's possible. Yeah, you're right. Hmm. There are a few issues, some things. Whew, yeah.
Oh, so in Paragon, we're going back to that. Enough issues to open
Uh-huh.
up a comic shop. Yeah,
There you
well,
go.
at least a bookstore. Um,
Mhm.
is so we're gonna talk.
Magazine
Really hate
scene.
it when she gives me the homework, like write about what truly makes you happy. Now that is a honestly a very common homework, and it is actually probably one of the most difficult homeworks. Somebody who has been sitting in a bunch of trauma, and this is my opinion. Again, let's just say this is my opinion. But I have yet to find somebody who is in intensive therapy who's really doing the work to get the homework assignment, journal about what brings you makes you joy, makes you happy, what you're good at, who you are as a person, what you bring to the table, all the positive things about yourselves. That is probably the hardest and worst homework anybody sitting with any type of motherfucking trauma, especially the type of trauma that we have, the long-term trauma that we have, is like that's the fucking worst. The worst.
Just hearing that, hearing here's your homework, and you're just going like I just cringe thinking that's the homework that I've got to do.
I actually asked for homework.
It's because you're that person.
Oh, shut up, fucking baby.
I like to have homework, just not necessarily that homework, because journaling is one of the hardest things for me. The actually doing the journaling, and so when it's my homework that I've got to do that, I'm like, oh, I don't really want to.
Oh my God. The first time he actually purposely told you to journal, and I was like, have you done your homework yet? Have you done your homework yet? And it was like literally the night before, and I'm like, have you done it yet?
I avoided journaling for so long. And it's still difficult. It's still find it difficult for me to sit down and do it. But here's the very fun thing about the journaling. As much as I disliked doing it, and it still kind of do, I've never journaled and it not have a good positive effect.
Same.
So as much as I avoid it, but I'm not avoiding it because I don't think it's going to work. I avoid it because it's going to work.
Oh, look at you bringing the wisdom right here. I'm so proud of you. Good job.
I avoided journaling for the longest time because I was afraid of what it would bring to the surface. I was afraid to deal with the hard stuff. Oh, hey, Bates. Never enjoyed homework. Yeah. So I didn't like what it might bring up because I knew it would work. I knew stuff would start to come up, and I didn't want to deal with that, so I avoided it. The fear of success is real. The fear of it's like, as long as I'm ignorant of it, I can use ignorance as an excuse. As long as I don't know that it's there, then I don't have to worry about doing anything about it. I have an excuse not to do anything about it. But as soon as it becomes reality, as soon as I realize this thing exists, this wound exists, and it's affecting me in this way, if I don't do anything about it, it is wholly on me. It is my fault, my responsibility. There's I can't make any excuse as to why I didn't do it. Oh, I didn't know about it. No, I didn't know about it. I have to deal with it. So journaling, I explained, and I talked about this in therapy just recently. Like journaling, I have all these thoughts in my head, and sometimes it feels like I can just think I don't need to journal because I can just do it in my head. No, when you do it in your head, it's like everyone's sitting at the table yelling at each other or yelling as loud as they can. You can't hear anything. Nothing makes sense. Journaling is like, okay, one person at a time. And as I type it out, even if it's stream of consciousness, it's kind of one person. It draws it out, and you kind of hear one voice, and allows you to see what's going on in your head instead of it all kind of being jumbled together. So I still don't like it. I still have a hard time doing it.
For me, journaling, that's like I think that it's an automatic for me. Does that make sense? Like when I was going through my critical time like months ago, it was a constant. I would find any surface, any piece of paper, any notebook, and I would just start writing the things in my head because
Mhm.
it was one of those things where there's so like the emotion because of my BPD, the emotion was just so overwhelming, the emotional part of it,
Mhm.
that I had to put words to what I was feeling. Otherwise, I was like, it just felt like this big gray emotional blob that was like I was drowning in. And so it was
Sure.
one of those things. And journaling is like um a lot of people like journaling is very different for a lot of people, just like having conversations is very different, and talking and
Mhm.
therapy is very different. It's how you communicate. And journaling is communicating with yourself. And
Ooh,
that
that's good.
yes,
It's
journaling is
hard.
communicating with yourself. And a lot of people don't know how to talk to themselves. A lot of people don't know how to stop and go because whether it be because of fear, like it's like you're afraid of what's going to come out. You're afraid of what you're going to say to yourself. You're afraid of what's going to be said.
Mhm.
And then, or it's just like me, who it's just like, I need to get all of this out, or it's just going to wreck me, which it was. So, I
Yeah.
mean, journaling is very much communicating with yourself, and it's how you communicate with yourself. Um,
Yeah, nerdy Will. Yeah,
I mean, but that's the reality, and that's why I mean, honestly, I don't
right.
know that for sure, but that's a lot of why therapists very much push that, because it's very much,
Mhm.
you have to, when you're journaling, you have to talk to yourself. It is
Yep,
talking to yourself. Whether you journal
yep.
via electronically, or you're a writer, or
Mhm.
even if you're video journaling, you are talking to
Yeah.
yourself. And that's fucking hard. It is hard, especially when you spend a lot of
Yes.
time ignoring your inner child, ignoring how you feel, ignoring, which is why they want you to do it. They want you to go, okay, all these people that you're trying not to talk to, all this person you're trying to pretend to be, that your inner self is actually going, no, that's not who we are. Like, they're trying to get you to talk to yourself through the trauma,
Yeah,
and get to know yourself and why you're doing these things, and get you to think about these things. And that's hard. That is hard.
it
People are
is.
like, well, I don't know, like journaling is just like, it's stupid, it's like writing in a
It feels
diary.
yeah.
It's not recounting the events of the day.
Oh,
Diary being
sorry.
Holding a diary is very different than actually journaling. And that is very, very different, and it hits
Yeah,
so different. And when you're
yeah.
journaling and you have a journal, they say, okay, this week you're going to journal about, like Paragon says, what truly makes you happy. And he says in one piece of paper, like he said, I have no idea what would truly
Mhm.
make me happy, because I don't know if I've ever been have truly experienced happiness. But then stopping there is like, okay, that's a
Mhm.
valid statement. That is an
Absolutely.
absolutely valid statement. But
Yep.
what would your inner self do if somebody else said that to you? If your friend said, I don't know if I've ever experienced happiness, I don't know what would make me happy, what would be the next
Mhm.
thing you would do? As a friend, you would go,
Yeah.
okay, so let's talk about that, right?
Mhm.
You would want to
Yeah,
talk
let's
about
explore
that
that.
with your friend. Let's talk about that. Let's see, like, hey, you've never
Mhm.
experienced happiness? Well, what does that mean? What exactly does that think? And that's where, just so you wrote the sentence, and that's a very valid sentence. But then when you
Yeah.
journal, you're like, I've got to ask myself why I've never felt I've been truly happy. God damn it!
Yes. Exactly. You start asking yourself the hard
Yeah,
questions,
you do.
and
Yeah.
you may not wanna answer them, especially 'cause you may not necessarily know where they're going to lead, but you know where they're gonna lead is difficult. That's the point of it. Is it there you have we have all these voices, we have all these parts. We talk about the parts, internal family
Paragon, I'm
systems
coming back to
part.
that too, Sweepy. I'm coming
Yeah.
back to that
We have
Thanksgiving one.
voices we have all these voices in our head. And whether we hear them or give them weight or give them attention or not, they're there. for me, journaling is like giving each person the talking stick. One person talks at a time. What are your thoughts?
Tell me you went to Christian camp without telling me you went to Christian camp.
Right?
The talking stick.
The talking stick. And so as you do that, at some point, that stick is going to pass to those voices who who feel like they haven't been heard. A lot of times that's the inner child. And the things that they may have to say are probably going to hurt.
Oof. Okay.
You may not be prepared for them.
And you're not.
But you don't have to.
You're not.
Yeah. But you don't have to fix anything. You just have to listen. Just listen. Let that voice be heard. Write it out. Yeah. And just get through all of the different parts, all the voices that speak up. And sometimes they won't necessarily go in order, but let them speak one at a time. And you'd be amazed at what comes out.
And I think that my biggest advice that I had to learn, and that was a big thing for me, is because let's go back to religious trauma, because I wasn't accounted privacy. So anything like I had to write and be very careful about what I wrote, especially growing up, and especially like in some of my young adult times, about what I wrote, because nothing was ever private. I had, like, if they saw something and I was writing in something, it was free game for them to pick up and read whenever they wanted. So I had to train myself, and I had to tell myself, this is mine. And I have to be honest, and I have to write like nobody else is going to read it, because that's how I was starting to, I was journaling for a long time. And my therapist is like, okay, we need to retrain you on how to do this, because you need to write, you need to start being honest with yourself, because what you are saying versus what you are journaling is very, very different. And it's very censored in your journaling. And I was like, well, she's like, you're writing like somebody's going to read it. And I'm like, well, I'm afraid if somebody is going to read it. And she's like, you can't do that. We're not going to get anywhere if that's how you're writing. And I was like, and that was hard to write and be like, if you read this, then you're good. Like, first off, it's none of your fucking business. Like, having to learn that I'm allowed privacy of my own thoughts. That is something, again, religious trauma, because if you think it, you've already done it. If you think it's already a sin. So your thoughts aren't your own. God knows your thoughts. Jesus knows your thoughts. You have no privacy, even in your own thoughts. So it was one of those, that was very hard for me to learn. And it's just like, and the conversation becomes very different. And like you said, you have to give each voice a different, and sometimes, I know this sounds weird, but I mean, for me, because, BPD and mental illness, yay. Sometimes the different voices have different ways of saying things.
Yeah.
And you're like, I also had to stop learning how to write like I was writing an essay or a screenplay, and everything had to have the same voice, and everything had to be like one person and the point of view and the right grammar and the right whatever, the right verbiage. No, I was going to write whatever it was that was going through my head right then. And sometimes my inner child would come out, and I was saying things in a certain way. And then sometimes it was my inner teens, and I was saying things in a different way. And it's okay. And sometimes in the same entry, and that's okay. Yeah. It, like you said, it's a stream of consciousness, and you have to allow yourself to have that openness and that open conversation with yourself. And it's fucking hard.
Don't judge those voices.
Right.
No matter what it is they say, don't judge them.
Right. Yeah, Sean. Yeah.
I'm saying that to myself.
I know.
It's hard. No, it is very hard not to censor, not to. Is that what you're saying? To talk to that voice and go, well, is that really the way you want to say it? Yeah, that is not. So it is difficult for me not to censor that voice, not to go back and clean it up or make it sound a certain way or change the tone. No, the tone is the tone.
Mm-hmm.
And one thing that my therapist told me last week about when I was journaling, one of the ideas he had was because I tend to write, it ends up just being one long, big old paragraph. It's because it's just stream of consciousness. He's like, each thought, just make it like separate. So you end up with like this long list of just individual statements.
I changed colors of pens.
Ooh. Oh, but you write though, right? You don't type, you write your stuff.
Yeah.
See, I type my stuff.
Oh.
I type my stuff.
You're an electronic. Yeah, no, I'm a writer. Yeah. I'm a writer, and
well, that's a great idea.
Yeah,
changing colors.
I change colors to change voices. I think for me, that's just how my like visual brain is. I realize like that's like, okay, I'm giving each different part. I'm writing like every like. Mm-hmm. They're all me, but you know, like it's like Doom Patrol, like different, you know, Jane, all the different. And actually, we talked about that in therapy. I don't have dissociative identity disorder. I don't have DID. But I mean, everybody, like I do part work, and so it's like like you said, every person has a part, and so I give every part a different color. Like I give them a different voice. Okay, so I just like I know when I'm switching. Like I've gotten to that point where I know when it's like different. So,
gotcha.
Yeah.
Bates sounds like Bates does that too.
Will asked Bates a question.
Yeah.
Okay, so I'm gonna go back. I told I told Paragon I'd go back to the Thanksgiving thing and about happiness.
Yes.
And and that's actually a very interesting thing. And I actually experienced that not necessarily so much with happiness as I did with peace and calmness and safe, feeling safe. That's a feeling because back when I was in crisis management, that's what I like to call it. When I was in crisis management mode, and my therapist was asking me, what do you want to feel? How, like when we do go through this work, and there was a constant question, what do you want to get out of this? What do you want to feel at the end of the day? Where do you want I just said, I wanted to feel peace. I want to feel calm. I want to feel safe in my own head. That was a big one. I want to feel safe inside myself because I didn't feel safe inside myself. Yay! Again, thinking my thoughts aren't my own. That's fun. And all of that trauma. I wanted to feel safe inside myself. I wanted to feel calm and peace. And she said one thing that just really hit me. And at the time, I was just like, well, of course I'm going to know what it feels like. Like, you know, it's going to be so drastic a thing that I don't. And she told me, she goes, you might not know that you are at peace. And that you've been at peace for a while until one day you wake up and realize that you're at peace. And I went, bitch, I'm going to know. I'm going to know instantaneously. Like, it's because it's so opposite of what I...
But will you know it's peace?
It's like, okay, it's like if you get intoxicated for the first time. However that looks for you.
What's happening here?
Some people live in states where intoxication looks a little different. And whatever that is, but you're intoxicated. Sometimes you don't know what that feels like. And you're sitting there going, is that what this is? Is that what this is? Because you don't know. You don't know that is what you're feeling.
Mm-hmm. I think these peace are, for me, it's the lack of anxiety, which I guess could maybe be the same thing. I think the hardest part about that is recognizing it as that, as opposed to something. If something is wrong, like, what is this feeling? Something's not right.
And Paragon just said that. He said, do you see it as peace or do you see it as a betrayal of your normal senses?
Yes. Absolutely. That's the thing. You find this place, but it feels wrong. It feels off. It feels weird.
Yes.
You're like, what is, and you're waiting for something to go wrong.
Mm-hmm.
You're trying to find the problem. You're desperately looking for a problem because problems are the norm for me. I speak for myself. The problem is the being in that anxious state or that problem and solving is a norm, and I'm so used to it. I'm trying to go back to that instead of just recognizing the peace and sitting in it.
Right. Oh my God. And paracontra, do you see it as peace or do you see it as a betrayal of your normal senses?
Mm-hmm.
And my therapist, a lot of times, or especially when I was in crisis management, like, normal for you was not normal. Why are you trying, like, normal for you is not normal. It's survival. And that hit so fucking hard. The feeling I get of, I know what this is. I know how to manage this pain, so I know how to manage this discomfort.
Yes.
So I'm sitting in a
you're
totally
a pro at it.
Yeah, I'm sitting in a totally different discomfort. I don't know how to manage this. Yeah. This is not right. I'm not saying, like, this can't be right because I'm uncomfortable. You're uncomfortable because you're not used to it. You're uncomfortable because this is healthy.
And that is foreign. That is so far from our normal that we don't know what to do with it.
And it's not, she goes, that is not normal. That is survival. Mm-hmm. That is not normal. That is coping. That is not normal. For you, it is normal. And normal is a relative term. And I know a lot of therapists hate using the word normal. Like, they do. I mean, but we're not therapists, so I'm going to use it. Fuck it.
Yeah.
But that's so true. Your status quo, your normal, your thing is survival mode. It's fight or flight. So when I finally started feeling that peace and that quiet in my head, which is what I was like, that turmoil, the anxiety, that fight or flight that I was constantly feeling. Mm-hmm. And I started feeling at peace and I started feeling calm. And then I instantly, this is where my brain went. It didn't go to peace. I didn't think it was peace. I thought it was loneliness. I thought it was abandonment. That quiet, because of, then it opens up that whole trauma part of me. Mm-hmm. It went from, okay, I want to feel calm. I want to feel peace. I want to feel that quiet. And when I finally experienced that, my brain didn't go, oh, this is what peace and calm feels like. No. Safety in your own head. No, my brain went, I'm alone. It's quiet. I'm alone and I'm abandoned and I'm like, it went into a totally
bad. Right.
The quiet and the calm is bad because again, my trauma, that's instantly where I went. Anything that was quiet and calm and solitude was an instant bad thing. Mm-hmm. And so I had to work through that and realize that it wasn't loneliness. I may feel that way, and that feeling is valid because that's my trauma, and that's what. Mm-hmm. But it wasn't loneliness. My brain was interpreting that calm and that peace as something bad. And I had to journal. I'm not alone. I'm okay. Mm-hmm. But it took some time, and it was really, really hard because, and so when you are doing the work, like you're trying to find out what your happy is, I often question the good feeling and being like, that's not happy. That's something else.
Yeah. Mm-hmm.
What were you going to say?
there have been moments. I think there have been moments very similar. I've had very similar to what you're saying. Whenever I find myself in a good mood, like where the anxiety has reduced to where it's like, oh, okay, well this is maybe a good place. I almost as soon as I call that out and recognize, oh, this actually, I feel like I'm in a good moment right now. Moment I do that, my brain, like tentacles, starts to reach out and go.
It's like for me, it's a
That's
smoke.
because you're.
It's that Dementor, like that Dementor, like so,
like little fingers everywhere. That shadow, that smoke starts reaching out in all directions, going, oh, that's just because you forgot something. Here, let me remind you of this bad thing that's going to happen or has happened in the past.
Yes.
And that you feel ashamed of or embarrassed about or whatever. Like my brain, I can feel my brain do that. And I'm like, whoa, what stop. That's difficult. I'm so used to living in the anxious that my brain wants to go back there because not being anxious is uncomfortable.
This is why we are a tribe. Yeah, it is, Calvino. I mean, that's why, like our community, like mine and John, like our community is very much, that's why we relate to each other. It's because I think, and that's why I started waking up and I started doing in the middle when I was doing it in car talks and that sort of thing, because it was important for me to reach out. I think that was, I started waking up and we started these things because it was important for us to create and establish a community where we weren't alone, because our type of trauma, we felt isolated. We felt drowning. Okay, I can't say for y'all, but I know for me, I felt like I was drowning in the sea of isolation, all while being surrounded by these people. And it was important for me and my growth and my learning and my healing, and still is, to go, here's my shit. I am not perfect. I am not put together. I am feeling these things. And this is who I am. And then getting that support back from my friends, from the community, going, me too. You're like, oh, I'm not alone in this, because it is so, your voice is, for my trauma, it's so fucking isolating. It is so isolating where you can't, like, you literally are feeling these emotions and having these intrusive thoughts and this struggling through this time. And you are literally, it's like, I explained it, I would disassociate, and it's like this fucking 4-inch plexiglass, like at the zoo. And you are watching things happen and you're like, I'm here. And it's like nothing was connecting. And it's so important for me in my mental is to connect with people and to have them understand, like, I'm a wreck. I am a fucking wreck. And I am not perfect. And I am not, and to be okay with being a wreck. And understanding that there are people out there who are a wreck too. And it's okay. And we're all just doing the best that we can. Because I grew up in church, and I grew up in a household and a society, in my culture where I grew up, where it was about perfection. You never let anyone see the cracks underneath. You never let anyone see the flaws. And if you had any, you gave it to God, and you never acknowledged them. And
yes.
It was so, that's why I started doing, and why the direction of my content went the way it did, is because it was important for me. It was so important. And I love my community, but I don't do it for you. I don't. And I know I've said that before. I do it for me. And I'm not perfect, and I fuck up and I say stupid shit, and, and I come back and go, oh, so remember that thing I was talking about months ago? Oh, never mind. Just kidding. Like, I think it's super important for that. I think it's important that I take away the plastic positivity, the always, you're doing great, you're gonna make it. No, I need sometimes, just like me, sometimes people need to hear life fucking sucks, and that's okay. It's okay for it to suck. It's okay for you to struggle. It's okay for you to fail, but we're not gonna fail alone. We're gonna fuck up, and we're gonna struggle, and we're gonna do it together. Come on.
Mm-hmm.
We're going to take our bruised asses and we're going to army crawl it if we got to. And if we have to, we'll sit here for a minute. That's fine. Yeah.
It's that doing it together that is a hard part for me to receive. It's easier for me to give. It's easier for me to go, hey, you're not in this alone. I'm here with you. You know, whatever you need to do, we talk about it, let's do this together. But to receive that, or to be the one to go, I need help, or for me to ask for something, that is one of the hardest things for me to do. To ask something of other people, because it's that burden. It's that is such one of the most crippling things. And we learn that at such an early age. We're not looking for people to be responsible. I'm not looking for someone to be responsible for my emotions. I'm looking for someone that I can just talk to and know is there and know cares.
Calvino, is life stomping you in the nuts? Here's a cup. We got to get you through this. Yeah, pretty much. I mean,
that's what it feels like. Yeah, absolutely.
But that's also the thing is like, that's what journaling and just circling back to that, journaling is realizing you haven't been alone and that you have more strength than you think.
Yeah.
Because you've only been listening to one or two of those belief system and those voices in your head.
Yeah.
But there are others, and there's like, and I have to constantly remind myself of this, is that there's those parts of you who are fighters. And you're fighting, whether they're being pretty prominent, and sometimes they're not. They're still fighting. There is still a part of you they still show up for you every single time when you are at your worst. When you are at your worst, which is why a lot of times it's like, well, I'm at the worst. I don't know if I can make it. I don't know if I can survive. There is still that part of you that goes, yes, you can.
Mm-hmm.
And sometimes you do need somebody else to go to talk to that part of you and go, okay, you're not alone. You're not fighting on your own. And, we'll sit here until you gain your energy back, and then we'll pick up our swords and we're going to just go out swinging, and it's okay. We're bleeding a little bit. And, we're, like I said, we're army crawling. It's sometimes that's all, just an inch at a time, a moment at a time. And sometimes it's that, but to have those people go, you're not alone, and it's okay.
Yeah.
Life has kicked you in the nuts. Life has absolutely stomped you in the nuts, and that's okay. And you're going to need a minute. And I'm not going to push you to try to get better. I hate that. I hate the whole, you can do it. Let's just keep fighting. Or sometimes it's just like, okay, life is sucking. Let's just sit here.
Right now. Yeah.
What do you need?
Oh, that's something I've had to learn as a friend.
Yeah, Sean?
Right?
Is it?
Yeah.
Is it?
Yeah. Yeah. A little bit. Yeah. The perpetual cheerleader. Yeah. That's that golden retriever energy right there.
Y'all don't know how many times I've literally called Sean, and he's started in, and he has the best of intentions, and I am in this in crisis state, and I literally fucking yelled at him, "Shut up!
You can do it! Go team, go!
Stop it! Just fucking sit here with me." Just love me. I think that because I think for me and my trauma, I don't know about anybody else. Everybody else takes that type of support differently. But for me, it feels very invalidating because it makes me feel, for me, when I'm in a crisis state and they're like, come on, think positive. You got this. You got, all this stuff. I think for me, it makes me feel like if I am not hurrying up and getting better, if I'm not hurrying up and being positive, that I'm unlovable. That they can't love me in this state. They can't support me in this state. And that's important for me now as a human and as my mental health growth, is like, you have to love me at my fucking worst. You have to be going, I'm still here even if you're not talking to me. I'm still here even if you are like having a breakdown, I'm still here. I'm going to show up for you. And I'm not going to push you to try to get better any sooner than you need to be. Now, am I going to let you wallow in it? Probably not. There's a lot of times that Sean and I've been like, okay, all right, fucking enough. All right. We've passed, we're past the point of just, feeling our emotions. Now you're just rolling around like a pig in shit. Let's get the fuck up and hose you off.
You've marinated long enough.
I know. You're done. Well, let's go, all
right, get up.
Yes. I mean, but then, but the difference as a friend. I think if you get to that point, the difference.
Yeah. Well, and sometimes it's a matter of time. It's, when you first come to it, when you first bring it up, there may not have been a long time sitting in it, but then as it continues and it becomes almost a cycle or perpetuates. Like, okay, are you ready? Twitch has been weird for me lately too.
Oh, really?
I've had weird issues with it. Yeah. I've had issues where it doesn't display stuff. Like modules, all the different modules, like a bunch of them won't display, and I have to keep refreshing.
Oh, Twitch is twitching? Stop it.
Yeah, Twitch and Bethesda must have gotten in bed together.
They're in a secret relationship. They're in a situationship.
They are. It's complicated.
It's complicated.
Uh-huh.
Oh, sorry, Bates. I don't know what to do.
Mm-hmm. Oh, he can actually hear me. Oh, okay.
Damn,
wait, hold on. Is that a bug? Are you saying that's a bug?
Do you want some lotion? Do you want some lotion for the bird? Here you go.
Aloe.
Here you go. Okay. All right.
Oh, it's all good. You know what I'm going to do? I'm just going to keep talking anyway. Gonna keep talking.
Look at you. Oh, your emotional mug. Your emotional support mug.
That's right. Oh, wait, hold on. Here we go. It's the mug.
Yeah. Coffee break.
What are we talking about?
Yeah, we're just like coffee break.
Yeah, there you go. Coffee break. You got Hogwarts and I got Night.
Neat.
It's heavy. Neat. Yes. I forgot my shrubbery.
It's but a flesh wound. That is very appropriate for you.
Wound.
That is a very I don't know how many times
bleeding.
I have used that on Sean before. I'm fine. It's not a big deal. It's not his favorite one. It's not a big deal.
Big deal.
Your trauma wound is literally like you're bleeding out, dude. Like
it's squirting.
You're gonna it's fine. It's just a scratch. It's fine. It's not a big deal.
Yeah, it's fine. It's not a big deal. It's fine. It's not a big deal. I'm good.
And I'm going, oh, are you good? Are you? Emotional support paladin. I'm an emotional support dragon. Do I get a vest?
You should. You absolutely should. Now that is a hard one for me though. Communicating how I feel and what I need. That's really difficult. That's admitting I'm vulnerable, admitting that I'm not. I know. Yeah, it's a tough one for me. That was a conversation. That was my last therapy session. Was talking about that stuff.
No capes. No capes.
Not all heroes wear capes.
No capes. Edna mode, because she's so super. Just give me the leather and the thigh boots. I'll be fine.
That sounds like a superhero to me.
Oh wait, I have this.
Yeah. No capes, only crepes. I'd take a crepe.
I love crepes. Tell me you haven't had breakfast without telling me you had breakfast.
Right. Crepes. We have deviated.
Well, not really. I mean, yes, Edna Mode is the best. She is the best. I love her. She is so no bullshit, and I love that character. She's one of my favorites. But I am actually an emotional eater. You're talking about yeah, I have to be really careful about that. As a kid, I gained like 30 pounds after my parents' separation and divorce because I was just eating my emotions. Because because I was not taught how to process my emotions. I was
Yeah.
not taught how to recognize my feelings or my thoughts. And
Hmm.
that perpetuated a lot of trauma for me. So I don't have a healthy relationship with food. Uh, so it's hard. I don't have a healthy relationship with my body because of that.
Yeah.
And it's one of those, you think it's not a big deal. It's not a big deal. Just,
Hmm.
but it is. It is. I have to be very
Yeah.
conscious. Am I hungry? Or am I, that's like the question I have to ask. Am I hungry? Or am I,
Mm.
my parents used to say, you're just bored. But it's not, it was
Yeah.
never bored. I mean, yes, sometimes you're bored and
It
you get,
can be boredom, but for you, it
it was
wasn't.
never boredom. It was always, I
Yeah.
was finding that comfort. It felt good to eat.
Yes.
And I never
Yes.
felt full. And that was the thing
Hmm.
is I
Yeah.
never felt full. I was just like, it tasted good. It made me, the dopamine that you get, just a little bit,
Hmm.
it's detrimental.
Yeah. Yeah. Emotional eating is absolutely the thing. I do the same thing. I'm an emotional eater as well. It's hard to put it down. It's hard to not use that coping mechanism.
I agree, Jay.
What did
Calvino
Jay just say?
said he has never had
Oh,
crepes.
yeah. Yeah. We gotta fix that.
What the hell?
There's a coffee shop down not far from me that sells crepes and coffee. Just gotta get them back in NC.
He's coming to Texas first, so bitch.
That's true. All right, were you gonna find us a crepe place in
I
Texas?
know that there's a crepe place, not but like 10 minutes from my house. It's literally
All right,
all they
well,
do
let's
is
go.
crepes.
Then we're gonna go. Let's do it. Okay. It's like a month from now, though.
Yeah, you're gonna get him to North Carolina first.
No, that's not gonna happen.
Shut up, Pip Pip.
All right, we need to Google closest crepe place to him right now.
Yeah, right. Oh, DoorDash it to
Yeah.
him. Hey, Calvino, send us your address. We'll
That would
DoorDash
be
you some
funny.
crepes.
There we go.
What's the
Ah.
hardest part about journaling for you?
Honestly, the hardest part is doing it. The hardest part is starting.
Mhm.
Because for me, like I'm feeling a certain way. I'm having this crisis, this moment, and in that heightened state, that emotional state with everything that's just flying around in my head, to stop and go, I should journal about this. Like for me, that's not second nature. That's not natural. Doesn't feel normal. It's not a habit for me. So for me to purposefully go, okay, I need to slow down. I'm gonna go to my computer, pull up my phone because I can do it on my phone too, and to start. It's like you're driving along the highway, and all of a sudden you gotta hit the brakes and slow everything down. It's difficult for me to start. That's a lot of times when I don't journal is because I just don't start. Because it used to be because of what I was afraid I was going to find, but I've journaled a bunch since then, and so I've that fear is kind of like I gotta, like we've said before, I gotta pick the hard. You know, everything's hard. Both are hard. I just got to pick the hard. Pick the healing hard or the not healing hard. So I've gotten better about um, not being afraid to journal, but slowing down, saying I need to. I at this moment I need to journal. Still doesn't come natural for me. Still not habit. That's just difficult for me. What about for you?
I think for me, it's actually journaling when I'm not in crisis mode. I think
Ooh. Mhm.
because my first instinct when in crisis mode is to grab a journal and write it out. But when I'm not in
Mhm.
crisis mode, it's still important to just like with
Right, that's a thing.
any relationship, there's a
Uh-huh.
difference between comfort and complacency, and like you have to.
Wow.
I know. It's great. It's awesome.
Ooh.
It's fun times. But where I have to remember journaling is still important. And I still have to have that conversation with myself. I have to continually check in with myself. But when I am not in a crisis state, I don't do it.
Mhm.
So then then it's
Ooh,
just
that makes
like,
sense.
I don't, it's just like, oh, I'm just there. I'm not like, I'm sitting in that place of plateauing and complacency with my mental health until I'm not. And that's not
Mhm.
okay too. That's not healthy. It's sort of like exercising, like, oh, I got to exercise really weight and then I hit my goal weight and then I stop. Like that doesn't make a lot of sense, does it? That
Mm-mm,
doesn't
it
make sense
doesn't. Yeah, you're right.
physically. So why would I do that mentally? And I do. And it's one of those, oh, I've hit my goal. I'm here. I don't need to do that anymore, right? That's not
No,
no,
that's not how it works.
not
That's not
how it
how
works,
any of
boo
this works.
boo. No, I need to
Nope.
actually continue. I need to make some time. I need to make some time for myself.
Sorry, I adjusted my camera.
We have been at this for an hour and you literally are just like, oh, okay.
Click, click. Just shift. Mhm.
Lord.
I noticed. Well, I noticed I was like off center. They're talking about kidnapping Calvino.
They talk about kidnapping me all the time.
Well, yeah, of course.
Would it
But
be
just like the conversation with Calvino, is it kidnapping if they're willing? You
oh
can't kidnap their willing.
no,
Oh
stepbrother.
no!
That's basically that is what quote
That's what
unquote
it would be.
that's what kidnapping is in our group is
Yeah. No, no. Oh no,
don't
stepbrother.
to make sure you take that suit. Don't take that suitcase over there. Like,
No.
I gotta
Don't go to this drawer and grab everything out of it.
don't grab the bag with the luggage tags on it.
The big, really, really heavy bag. Yeah.
Listen, bitch. Listen. The overpacker doesn't get to judge the overpacker.
That's true.
Oh my God.
Yeah.
Tell me you grew up. Well, oh, so you didn't grow up a poor kid. Tell me you grew up a poor kid without telling me you grew up a poor kid. You fucking, because for me, I pack everything because I'm like, you couldn't buy it. Like you had to make sure if you didn't bring it, you went without. And now I have to remind myself, like, oh, if I don't bring, I'll just stop and get some shampoo. Like I'll just stop and do that. Like if I forget my socks, I'll just stop at a Target and get some socks. But like when you were growing up poor, you're just like, no, bring everything in the kitchen sink.
Because you might need it. But see, I used to not be an overpacker. I used to underpack to the point of I wouldn't bring stuff that I probably needed, like checking the weather and making sure you're packing right clothes for the. I wouldn't. I used to not do anything like that. I would just kind of throw stuff in. Oh, it's warm outside. Forget the fact that the place I'm going is up in the mountains. I should probably, I used to not. And then I got to the point where I think I was so unprepared for where I was going that I swung the other direction and ended up overpacking. So then I bring everything just in case.
You're always checking the weather. You're old as shit. Like, what are we like?
the weather and the traffic. You got to check them.
Oh my God.
Don't judge me.
Oh, I am. It's fine.
I know you are.
We've been at this long enough.
You're totally judging me.
Oh yeah,
that's okay.
But then
the luggage it said.
But then you run into the problem of you're a cosplayer and you're going to a con.
That's overpacking at a whole other level.
Yeah, I had to
Did you see the I'm a cosplayer's boyfriend video?
No, I
where
still
he's
haven't.
dragging. It's his girlfriend's a cosplayer and she's and I'm a cosplayer's boyfriend and he's dragging everywhere he goes. He's dragging this massive, like almost a wagon of props and costume pieces. And
what if you're dating another cosplayer though?
Two cosplayers dating? That's the trunk space. That's a whole other thing. Yeah. Mm-hmm. The luggage that says "take in case of kidnapping." Yeah, that's probably you probably shouldn't label one of your suitcases in case of kidnapping. I mean, unless of course you're into that, which that is certainly a thing, and we are not yucking anyone's yum. That's a level of CNC that we had talked about.
I mean, oh,
Wait, you get a third wheel? Is that like a Squire in Fallout? You know that bag the Squire carries everywhere?
oh,
That's
I am so like I can hear my brain now at Comic Palooza and at Con Caroline's. Like I can hear it now.
yeah.
All of these people that are going to be in vault suits and like Fallout shit, and I'm going to be like, I'm going to be
Yes. You're gonna be
so.
judging them.
I am going to be so mad. I'm like because I'm like. I am not gatekeep. I'm so glad that the show actually brought new people, brought fresh blood and all of that stuff. But
Fresh meat.
fresh meat. But
You're
at
like,
the
I
same,
liked Fallout way back when.
right? And there are people like Jay who've been million Fallout since Fallout. You know, like start like I'm not going to say I was like the first person to find Fallout because I remember very distinctly going to my first Comic Palooza and seeing Fallout stickers. Because I think it was right as when 76 first came out. And I was like, I asked my friend, I was like, what is this? What is this Fallout thing? And somebody was explaining to me, I was like, okay, whatever. But then I wasn't a gamer at that time either. So I was like,
for people our age, there's this weird place where like when the nerdy side of us comes out, especially when we're young. Like when we're young and we're talking about all this cool nerdy geeky stuff, and then years later, all of a sudden, it becomes popular to that thing that we geeked out about years ago that people made fun of us for. All of a sudden, it becomes popular, and we're like, really now? Yeah, all that crap you gave me, and now you're into it. Come on, there's this piece of us that gets indignant. Like, really?
Like, especially with like the D&D thing and like the role play, the RPGs and all of that. Like, oh, like you nerd or video game people, video gamers gamers in general. Like, and
you're a gamer?
Like, I would admit, like, wasn't really into gaming because back when we were growing up, like gaming was like, wow. Like, and that was a lot of grindy games. Like it was not, or Madden. So you had grindy games or Madden. There was not a lot of like in between. Yeah. And now there's just so many games for anything. You want a puzzle game? Yeah, you got a puzzle game. You want comfort games? You want like, yeah, we got those too. Like it's nice, but totally.
But we used to be made fun of all the time. Like back when we were growing up, being a gamer was like, you were antisocial. You were you were the
devil.
Nerd.
You were the devil.
You were if it was D&D, you were the devil.
You were the devil.
Yeah. Cozy games. That's a whole category now. Cozy games and cozy gaming. I see that a lot on Twitch now. Is cozy gaming, especially like on the weekends on Sunday. We're doing some cozy gaming, like Sims. So
I'm over here and I started a show called 76 Sundays. I'm like, let's shoot things in the face.
Let's go hack and slash.
Hack and slash?
Yeah.
Oh, Tiny Tina's.
Tiny, yes. I miss Tiny Tina's. Anyway. So.
Yeah.
How do we wrap this up?
I don't know.
I don't either. Because we kind of went different. We talked a lot about journaling today.
We did.
Talked a lot about.
So did we make it?
Yes, we made it. We made it 2 years.
We did make it 2 years.
And we appreciate everyone that has tuned in at whatever point in these 2 years that you joined us, that you became part of our community.
Did you think that we would have enough content for 2 years?
No, not at all. Nope.
I don't think we still.
I mean, it was just something we do for a little while, and then
I honestly, I thought it may be a year, maybe.
Yeah.
This show has definitely evolved.
It has.
Do you remember what we had to have like a topic every single topic in a spreadsheet.
Oh yeah, I still got the spreadsheets
with
the
like
spreadsheets and the bullet points and the
and the
document.
topics.
I used to spend my Sunday mornings documenting, making all of my bullet points, my outline, my summary. My Sunday mornings. That's how I used to spend them before the podcast.
And it would drive.
Now we're
just
it
like
would drive you crazy.
10 minutes before we're like, we have no idea. I'm gonna put a title up and we'll figure it out as we go.
Mm-hmm. Yep, that's it. But you know what? I think that's good. I think our best episodes come from us just being us and talking.
What? Being authentic? Shut the fuck up. No. What?
It's profound.
People want to show up just to see us be us? No.
What? You like us? You really like us?
Oh, it validates our trauma.
Oh no, we are not ready to go into that.
Oh no, we're not validating our trauma yet? Okay, cool. My bad.
We got to see something for next episode.
I showed up for the free drinks and the t-shirt. Okay, fair enough. I mean, it's fine.
It's like, hey, whatever reason you showed up. I appreciate that.
Hey, I mean, I make great t-shirts. Sean makes great snickerdoodles. What do we got? I mean, we got all the things. Like, it's fine.
I do. Yeah. Snickerdoodles. I wonder if Crumble's open.
By now, for you? Yeah.
Yeah.
I'm going to order you like a six-pack of snickerdoodles.
I think I might. Or at least a three pack and then 3 of something else. Crumble. So good. Now I got Crumble on the brain.
Talk about emotional eating. Okay, there we go.
Right? See, the good example. Perfect example.
Peppermint cookies. Yeah.
My making cookies is like, breaking open the pack of the pre-made dough and putting it on a cookie sheet.
You don't have my skills. It's fine.
I do not. I am not the baker that you are. You are a fantastic baker. And cook.
But we did make it, and we are making it.
We did.
I think that's we haven't reached the end. I think it's in present. We're making it. I think
this is just a point in our journey.
Yes. I don't know if we're ready. I don't know. We have a lot.
Yeah, that's the one thing I mentioned this in one of my sessions one time. It's like you get to a point and you're like, all right, I've made all this progress. I've done this great work. I've done the work, and I'm at this point.
Thanks,
and you can't. And some people will go, okay, cool, I'm done. Thanks, I've been therapized. I'll let you know if I need you again.
I have done that before.
You have?
Yeah.
Okay. All right. How'd that work out for you?
We're not going to talk about that.
Yeah, okay. But then there's this and we've talked about this where I'm like, you get to a point and you've done this great work, and not to discount the work that's been done, but then that's just a layer. Okay, so you've made this progress. I've made this progress, and I've peeled this layer, but I still got this other stuff, and that's probably going to be harder than this other stuff to deal with, to work through.
My my trauma therapist, my new one, she's like, okay, we can she should. It's like you fix the leak in the ceiling, you fix the one little leak, but you don't still know what the problem was. You just sort of patched over it, and so it's not leaking anymore. So you're like, it's fine, right? But you never really found the cause of the leak, like the purpose of why it started leaking in the first place.
That's a good.
And so then there's another one that springs up, and you're like, what the fuck? What the fuck?
Yeah, I thought I fixed that.
Right. And then you're just like, why are these you're constantly doing this? She's like, okay, well, yes, we definitely need to patch the holes before your house floods. But we also need to figure out why there was a leak in the first place and where that comes from. And we need to deal with the major problem. It's like you see a crack in the foundation. Okay, you're not gonna slap some concrete on that and call it good. No, you got to realize why because you see a crack in the
Is that
foundation.
the foundation settling?
Yeah, shit's gonna happen, and half your house is gonna be on the ground, and you're gonna be like, "What the fuck happened?"
It just happened.
Sometimes your therapy is gonna hit a lull. I think I'm right there right now. It's very much like, okay, well, I'm not in crisis mode, and you feel like you're not in crisis mode, and you're like, well, what do I got to talk about? I don't have anything left to talk about.
Does it feel weird?
Yeah.
Does it feel weird for you? It does for me. I was just thinking that, like, when your therapy starts to shift from crisis mode to the next phase,
yeah,
it feels weird.
Yeah.
It almost feels like you're stuck or like something's wrong.
Or like you're not, like you're fine. Like, okay, you don't need therapy anymore. Like, okay, so like I'm not in crisis mode, so there's nothing left to talk about. Like, there's a lot for me to talk about. It's not an immediate crisis.
You're not squirting blood right now, but there's still stuff that's wrong.
Why do you have to use the word squirting?
I don't know. It just came to me.
Came on you.
You're not gushing. How about that?
Okay, that's better. Squirting? You're not in this crowd. We're traumatized. We have trauma, which means we have kinks, fucker. Like,
gotcha. All right. Reserve that word for other conversations.
Because our entire audience, me included, is going to go.
They all went in one direction.
Yeah.
We all became 12 all of a sudden.
We are 12 because that's where our inner child stopped. Actually, that's where our inner adolescence started. And we're all like, yeah, like it. I feel like
that's a good place to stop.
Oh, well, thank you for joining us on Waking Up this random Sunday. Sure did. Yeah, sure did.
Yeah,
we sure did. Say the word squirt. You ain't thinking anything. Like, tell me you're a freak.
Uh-huh.
Pretty debauchery. Oh, look at Sean. Look at Sean all being all plushy. It's like
I started this mess.
That's what she said.
Yeah, Nerdy Will's. I'm a complete freak. I think
we all are.
Yeah. Yeah.
I think we all are.
That's why we're good company.
I mean,
that's we all are people. Mm-hmm. Calvino, really? Okay. See. Hey, Kagome.
Hi, Kagome.
This is when Kagome jumps in. She
Womanade. And I am done. I am calling it that from now on.
Great. Wow.
Hi, Kagome. I miss you. I miss you so much.
Oh. On that note.
Oh yeah.
Let's all go hydrate.
We were talking about kinks and the
layers.
Hydration.
Mm-hmm. Now see, now you got Nerdy Will thirsty. Look at that.
Does it make it light if it comes from a crystal? Oh, you know what? Now I gotta sit here and let this go. No, I gotta sit here and watch where this goes.
Just let this. So, no, never mind.
What?
No. Different podcast. Different podcast.
Yes, yeah, you do.
Oh, yeah.
Mouse is like, okay, Mom, you need to stop while you're ahead. Okay, all right. Mm-hmm. Okay, I love you, Kagome. I miss you. We'll need to catch up soon. You're right, Camino. All right, thank you for joining us for waking up on this Sunday. We hope that you have a great evening. Who knows? We might hop on some 76 later. Camino needs to level up. Paragon, hey, you might want to jump on. We can level Paragon up. Do
Yeah, we
some
could. Yeah,
wasteland, you know.
we could do
Well,
some stuff.
Jay's at work, and we can let him watch us stream while we watch. We
Yeah.
help the newbies and watch him Twitch, like, because you know, if it was me, you, Calvino, and Paragon, Jay would Twitch the entire
He would.
time.
Hmm.
What are you doing?
Why are you doing that? We're just wandering the wasteland.
Causing mayhem.
What's this launch code do? That's exactly right. What does button do?
It goes to the left real hard, but that thing how we got here in the first place. I mean, if you're hitting it from the left, just as long as you're grabbing it from anyway, we're gonna go. Bye. We love you, everyone. Oh my god.
Hit the button.